Alright guys, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be answering the age-old question for a GMT800 generation truck or SUV. Can you replace your factory tow hooks with a shackle? The answer is yes. Alright, so ignore the mess back here. I'm measuring things in regards to the platform, but so here's a little overview of what you're going to need to get this job done. And to start out, you're going to be using the Rough Country RS148 tow hook kit for a 2007 to 2013 Chevy and GMC 1500. And so you get two of these in the kit, and we are replacing the factory hook with that. And then you've got your hole to add a shackle. You only need a couple of tools. Your factory tow hook uses an 18mm head bolt and nut that goes through crossways, just like you've got a crossways section here. So you need a wrench. I don't have two, so I'm using an adjustable wrench. And then on your factory hook, you've got a bolt that goes in through the bottom of the frame rail, a short one. That's 18mm as well, so they made that nice and easy for us. And now, so just a quick overview of some of the differences you're dealing with. So you've got a bolt that runs crossways like this in your factory hook that sandwiches inside the frame rail. You got the same thing over here on the new version, but instead of a bolt coming up through the bottom, you've got a bolt that comes in through the side. And that gives you just that locating support, so it doesn't rotate on your one. That holds it in place, just like that one. So you can see I've already modified this. We'll get into that in just a sec here. But that's a brief overview of the differences between the two generations of hooks. So here we've got a little preview of the outside. I've got one side done. This is my kind of proof of concept. Just dived into it and figured it out as I went. So I've still got the passenger side over there to go, of course. And the main caveat to this project is if you are not willing to modify your vehicle, then this isn't a project for you. And most of what I show you for the modifications that I had to do are going to be specific to the denali. And of course, the reason for that is the denali has our plastic bumper cover with a kind of a glass fiber reinforcement behind it, just like basically any modern car has, instead of the usual metal bumper like the rest of the trucks do. So this isn't going to be directly applicable to most of the trucks and SUVs out there just because of that difference. I don't know exactly what you're going to have to trim to accomplish the same thing, but the overall locations on the frame rails and everything like that will be applicable, so you'll just kind of have to figure out what is specific to your application here. Alright guys, down on the ground here so you can kind of see what we've got going on. This is where the stock bolt goes through for your factory hook. This is your through bolt. This is the nut side. And then this is the side bolt where you're going to have to add an extra hole to your frame for that locating bolt. Now, I had to clear out some of the urethane painted bumper cover here, and then had to trim a decent chunk of the glass fiber reinforcement. That's like the actual bumper on these denalis. But I had to trim that out of the way to get this up flush. So hopefully that makes sense. So there's a shot of the side that we haven't done yet. You can kind of see the sections that we'll have to trim out. And I also had to trim out around that mounting tab right there in the center of the frame to drill the hole for the side locating bolt as well. So like I said, if you're against modifying your rig, you're not going to like this project. But overall, it's really simple stuff. Doesn't affect anything structurally, and you end up using a factory style tow hook and factory style locating mounting points. So I trust that more than some other solutions, but that's me, you may differ. But anywho, that's a little overview of the modifications that we'll need to do here. Now, the other main thing you're going to have to deal with is the width on the new hook is different than the factory one. The new ones for the next generation are a little bit skinnier. And what I did for that, you can always stack washers or whatever, but I actually lined these up and then cut the ends off of the factory hook. So that's why you're going to want to Dremel with a metal cutoff wheel along with the rest of your tools to make a shim to go in between the hook and the frame rail, so the bolt actually pinches it tight. The one thing that I didn't realize is doing that, of course, centered it in the frame rail, which means the bolt was not long enough to engage the threads for that back locating side bolt that we have to add the hole for. So on this side, instead of cutting an equal length spacer off of each side, I'm just going to cut one that's equal, to both lengths in one chunk, put it on this side so it offsets the tow hook in the frame rail opening. So that way it's not a big deal, but it'll be one spacer instead of two. All right, guys, so we are going to start with pulling off this bottom bolt here. And again, that's your 18mm wrench. So do be sure to save that guy, because the captive nut on your new shackle, or bracket anyway, is the same thread as that. So that's what you reuse for the side. So just instead of going up the bottom, it goes in the side now. Okay, so now we've got to break the long through bolt loose. All right, so we have our nut free now. And like I think I mentioned earlier, to be able to, maybe I didn't, but to be able to get the long bolt out, I actually have to cut part of that fiberglass reinforcement. So I will do that probably off camera because it gets really dusty, but I'll show you the result of that. Okay, so there's the shot of the bolt and where it's running into the fiberglass reinforcement. So we've got to cut a chunk out of that to give it enough room to be able to pull out that way. So that's what we're doing next. I'll show you the result when I'm done. All right, guys, I'll show you what we're working with here real quick. So I've trimmed back the urethane there to expose enough of this glass fiber reinforcement as we're hitting that. And I don't want to have to pull off the entire bumper cover to do this. I don't know if it'd be much more work, but it makes it more accessible in the future too. So kind of two-sided for me. But so we're going to cut this back just a bit here so we can get this out. And then the last thing we'll have to do once I'm able to get the new hook up inside is mark out where I've got to drill the side hole. So I'll continue on. This reinforcement, I think, actually cuts easier than the urethane bumper cover, but that's the piece out. And that lets us have room to pull that. So that step is done. Moving on. All right, guys, so the next thing we need to do is mark out how much we need to cut off of this to make our spacer. So this is pretty simple. Just lay them on top of each other and give yourself a mark on the rounded portion there, and make sure to cut on the inside of your line so you don't cut yourself too thin by the time you come for the width of your cutoff wheel, because you don't want to don't have to make up too much space by squeezing the frame rails. You want that nice and snug. So I'll get started cutting this. And it probably goes without saying, but if you got an air-powered cutoff wheel, use it. I can't find mine, so I'm dremeling, and it takes a little bit of time, but anywho, we got through it. So now we've got our spacer. Okay, so test fit time here. Plenty of room. One thing I didn't realize is the side bolt here is on the same side of each shackle. So I had to drill a hole on the inside of the frame rail on the driver's side, and I'll have to do it on the outside of the frame rail here on the passenger side. So that's a little twist. There's not a lot of room because there's a fog light in the way. But we'll cross that bridge here when we get to it. Let's see about putting our spacer in. All right, guys, we got it there. You can see the spacer finally in place. I had to trim a little bit more. That is about as tight as a fit as you're ever going to get, so I'm very happy with that. Now I just got to figure out how I'm going to get room to drill the hole for the side bolt. Probably going to be taking the fog light out of the way, so give me a minute to check that out, and I'll let you know what I found. Alright guys, so fog light is out of the way. And I'm taking kind of a preliminary measurement up there. And then I'm going to pull it out though and make sure I have that bolt hole lined up good. Alright guys, so what you just got to witness was me having to pull the whole bumper off to correct the hole for that side bolt on the second shackle bracket. I came in, I had to remove the fog light, and that still left me at an angle, so my hole wasn't dead on. So I had to pull the bumper off to get full side access, and that allowed me to use the Dremel with a high-speed cutting bit to just even that out a little bit on the end, and it goes in just fine now. So taking just a little bit of time to do that bumper cover would have saved a whole lot of time the other day. So lesson learned, but we will continue on. All right guys, so at this point we're pretty well done with the actual install, so I'll give you some close-ups here. But main lesson learned, take off the front bumper cover. It makes life so much easier overall. Would have saved me a little hassle on that side, but overall still a pretty quick project, so no real complaints. So let me give you some close-ups here of the final product. All right guys, well, to wrap up here, you should have just seen some finished shots there with the bumper back on and everything. So get an idea of what the final product looks like, and we'll just do a quick summary of what you need again to do this. We're using the kit shackle to, or tow hook to shackle conversion kit from Rough Country. It's the RS148 for 07 to 13 Chevy and GMC 1500s, and that's your GMT900 generation versus what we're working on, the GMT800. Tool-wise, pretty basic. You're gonna need an 18 mil wrench, another 18 mil wrench or an adjustable wrench, a Dremel, I'd recommend, or an air cutoff tool. but something to make some cuts and modifications to the bumper cover and reinforcement. A 1/2 inch drill bit to make your extra hole for that side locating bolt. And that's basically it. Again, at least for a Denali, I'd recommend just pulling off the entire bumper reinforcement to give you that extra room. It just made life a lot easier in the end. So again, lesson learned there, but pretty happy with the outcome. Let me know what you think down in the comments. If you have any questions or anything, I'll do my best to answer those. If you liked it, give her a thumbs up. We appreciate that always. And we'll see you again for the next project.